Welcome to our channel, HASHMICLINICS.
Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the materia meta of Anilinum. Now, this is a remedy that comes from coal tar, and it has an incredibly precise, really powerful sphere of action. When it's the right fit, Anilinum can be a game changer, but because of its unique toxicological roots, you have to know exactly when and why you're using it.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with its origins to really get a feel for its core essence. Then, we'll build out the mental and general picture, zero in on its most important keynote symptoms, and then map out where it's used clinically. And of course, we'll finish up by comparing it to some similar remedies and giving you some key prescribing pearls to take with you. All right, first up, the introduction and core essence. Look, to really get Anilinum, you absolutely have to start with its background as an industrial poison. Its entire therapeutic personality comes from that toxicological identity. And this right here is the heart of it all. If you only remember one thing today, let it be this. Anilinum is for a deep, profound collapse of the blood and the nervous system. And the two things you'll always see are cyanosis, that bluish tint, and anemia. This is the absolute bedrock of the entire remedy picture. So anilinum, or imidobenzene, is a coal tar product. And what's so clinically important here is that its symptom picture wasn't created from our usual provings. No, it's drawn directly from poisoning cases. People working in factories, breathing it in, or even people who wore clothes with aniline dyes. This origin story is the absolute key to understanding how it works. So these four core themes from its toxic profile translate directly into how we use it. You've got that profound anemia and the really marked cyanosis, that blue look. Then there's this strange affinity for cell nuclei, which is what points us towards using it in cancer cases. It suggests a really deep destructive pathology, probably with a psychotic miasmatic background. And finally, you see a deep, deep depression of the nervous system.
Okay, so with that toxicological foundation laid, let's take a look at how this all shows up in the patient's overall mental state and their general physical condition. This is what we're calling the constitutional collapse. Mentally, the picture is one of profound shutdown. We're talking about words like habitude and imbecility, which just mean a really deep, profound dullness of the mind. This isn't just someone being tired, it's a total cognitive shutdown, a sleepiness that can literally progress all the way to a coma. You might see some nervous restlessness, but it tends to pop up at night, coming from this place of complete exhaustion.
And the physical generals tell the exact same story. You'll see extreme weakness and prostration. That nervous system depression can even lead to violent convulsions, both epileptic and tetanic types. The pulse is a huge clue. It's irregular, slow, and feels hard under your fingers. And you'll often find swelling in different parts of the body. All of this points to a really deep systemic disturbance.
All right, now this next part is clinically vital. We're diving into the keynote particular symptoms. These are the unique, the strange, the rare, the peculiar things that will make you say, aha, this has to be Anilinum. So the first thing you're probably going to notice is the patient's head and face. They'll complain of a bursting headache, but the objective sign is what's unmistakable. A purplish color to the face and really, really blue lips. This is not a subtle thing. It's a profound cyanosis that just screams for your attention. Now, this right here is arguably the most unique and guiding keynote for the entire remedy. This quote from the literature says it all: pain and swelling of the penis and scrotum, later impotence, tumors of the urinary passages. This powerful affinity for the male urogenital system is a massive confirmation.
And if we expand on that, you'll see this affinity for the urinary tract is just profound. This isn't some minor theme, it's central to the remedy. We see it indicated for tumors of the bladder and ureters, specifically bladder cancer, and this is often paired with tenesmus, that painful fruitless straining, and dark-colored urine.
And here's another one of those incredibly specific keynotes, this time on the skin. You're looking for a raw, red eczema, an eczema rubrum, but here's the key. Pay attention to the location. It specifically affects both knees, and it comes with an itching that is just intolerable. The sheer specificity of that location is a huge, huge confirmatory symptom.
And just a few other characteristics to help you round out the picture. You might see a vesicular eruption that forms what looks like a bracelet right around the wrist. There can also be these really acute cholera-like states, sudden vomiting and diarrhea, with that classic icy coldness and an intense burning in the stomach. It just shows how that state of collapse can show up acutely in the gut too.
Okay, so with this really unique symptom picture in mind,
What kind of clinical conditions should actually make us think about prescribing anilinum? Let's take a look at where it really shines in practice.
Anilinum has really shown its value in 4 main areas. You've got profound anemia, cancers, especially of the urinary tract, that very specific eczema rubrum we just talked about, and those acute cholera-like collapse states.
Now, being able to tell anilinum apart from other remedies that look similar, well, that's absolutely crucial if you want to prescribe it accurately. This is where we really get to fine-tune our understanding.
And here is a really important clinical note. The source material we have on Anilinum is pretty thin on modalities. We don't have a clear list of what makes things better or worse. Now that's unusual, and it means our prescription has to lean almost entirely on the strength and clarity of those characteristic keynote symptoms we've been talking about. So let's put Anilinum right next to a couple of its closest relatives. Take arsenicum. Both have that collapse state, right? But arsenicum is defined by that deep, restless anxiety and fear. Anilinum's mental state is the opposite. It's dullness, hebetude. Or think about gloninum. It also has a bursting headache, but its whole essence is this violent, pulsating vascular congestion, not the deep, blue cyanosis of Anilinum. The key differentiator for Anilinum will always come back to that unique combination of profound cyanosis with that specific urogenital pathology.
All right, let's bring it all together. I want to distill all of this down into some really practical, actionable clinical tips and a memorable summary to help you spot this remedy when it walks into your clinic.
Here's a simple little 3-step process you can use as a quick memory aid. First, you see the state of collapse, that deep cyanosis or anemia. Second, you look at the location of the main problem. Is it focused on the urinary tract or the male genitals? And third, you confirm your choice with one of those killer keynotes, like the eczema on the knees or that bursting headache with the purple face. And here are just a few final pearls to keep in mind. Remember to think about Anilinum in cases where you suspect some kind of industrial poisoning. That combination of cyanosis plus urinary tumors is really its most powerful indication. And please, please don't forget that peculiar eczema on the knees. Sometimes that's the one thing that will crack the case wide open. And finally, think of it in those deep collapse states that just don't have the classic mental anxiety and restlessness you'd expect to see in a remedy like arsenicum.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought to take with you into your practice. In those really tough cases of unexplained cyanosis or profound anemia, or when you suspect some kind of industrial toxicity and nothing else seems to fit, could anilinum be that missing similimum you've been looking for?
Professor Dr. Rafat Hashmi is a distinguished homeopathic physician, educator, and researcher with over 4 decades of clinical and teaching experience. He is widely respected for his deep command of materia medica, repertory, and constitutional prescribing, combined with a practical, patient-centered approach. Dr. Hashmi has dedicated his career to training generations of homeopathic doctors, blending classical principles with modern clinical insight. He is also known for his innovative work in digital homeopathy, developing educational content, clinical tools, and AI-assisted systems to enhance remedy selection and case analysis. With a strong commitment to ethical practice and lifelong learning, Professor Dr. Rafat Hashmi continues to guide, inspire, and elevate the standards of homeopathic education and patient care.